You guys are always asking me how I make my doll shoes, and I thought I would let you in on the way I make at least one kind of pair. So this is going to be for a canvas sneaker type shoe or like a Converse knockoff. And I did this as part of my video for making my mini wardrobe. That's going to be over on my main channel. But for now, let's get into the tutorial. I start out with a resin printed shoe base. Now, these are my own personal shoe bases. They are available over on my website as STLs or as kit prints, where I print them out and send them to you. But you can also make your own out of polymer clay or out of air dry clay or like literally anything. Now, I chose felt for this project because it adds the stiffness that canvas does, but it also doesn't fray as easily as canvas. The whole shoe isn't going to be in felt though, so I'm also using an athletic mesh, just some kind of thin fabric, just to make sure it's got the feel I want. From these fabrics, I need to cut out 2 felt tongue pieces, 2 felt Converse shapes for each shoe, meaning 4 total, 2 black strips that are going to be the back piece of the shoe. I sized out the Converse size and shape just using my doll's foot. I just kind of eyeballed it, but as long as it basically looks like the shoe shape, you're going to be golden. And then in the athletic mesh, it's 4 of the Converse shapes and 2 of the tongue shapes. That's all the pieces we need to cut out so we can get started sewing. To get started in sewing, we're going to start with the body pieces or the main parts of the shoe. Grab 1 piece in felt and 1 piece in the athletic mesh, making sure that the right sides, aka the sides you want facing out, are right now facing in together. Then you're going to stitch along the front of the toe, all the way up the top, and then down the back panel, leaving the bottom of the shoe unstitched. Once that's done, trim off the extra, and then we're going to flip it right side out and give it a little bit of a top stitch. Repeat this step 3 more times for the other shoe pieces. Make sure that you end up with 2 left sides and 2 right sides though, or you're going to end up with the athletic mesh, which is supposed to be the liner on the outside of one of your shoes, and we really are not going for the mismatched look this time. Unless you are, and then I guess go ahead. Okay, moving on to the tongue. Now that we're stitching up the tongue, it's the same thing. You're going to face the right sides together, stitch them along the sides, leaving the bottom open. Then carefully turn it right side out and give it a little bit of a top stitch. Do this again for the other side. All right, that's all of our pieces stitched. So let's attach these now. Using a zigzag stitch, I attach 2 of the shoe pieces together. Then I use a straight stitch to attach that strip to the top. So the shoes I'm making have a vinyl logo and also like vinyl toes. So I'm going to be using black vinyl for this, but you can use basically any fabric or canvas you want. You just want to use something that is stiff enough to work as like the stiff logo part and also as the toe part. Now the toes are the trickiest part. They are the bane of my existence. I always kind of feel these out by placing them over the doll's foot and then shaping it out that way. That is the easiest way for me. Once those pieces are cut, I went ahead and just painted my shoe bases black to match, but you can do whatever you want with that. There's still a little bit of assembly to do before we attach the shoe all together, and the first thing I'm going to do is add grommets. Now, I finally figured out how to use my grommet punch. I got this one on Amazon. I think it was like $10, and this was my first time, so they're a little messy, and I really wish that the grommets were smaller. I have looked for mini grommets. I can't find them, but regardless, I was able to add 4 grommets to the shoes. Following that, I used a bit of super glue and a bit of fabric glue to attach my vinyl logo onto the part of the shoe that would be the inside ankle. Once that was completely dry, I went in with a bit of black acrylic paint and I just kind of put some paint over top of these grommets, and that's just because of the specific type of shoe I was making. You don't have to do that, but you can if you want. There's so many different ways you can customize these shoes, so like just have fun with it. Using the shoe forms that I made for my bases, or your doll shoe wrapped in saran wrap or something, I just go around the outside of the shoe base and I add super glue. Now, super glue basically saves my life in these situations, but I super glue the fabric around the outside of the shoe. And then I do the same with hot glue and super glue to add the toe in. I like to do the toe with hot glue first because it's so finicky how it's placed, and if I need to pull it up, I want to be able to do so. Make sure that you have adequate glue on both the inside and the outside of the shoe to hold everything on. Also, try and make it as smooth as possible. Now, the glue is going to make a white residue in most cases, so if that happens, this is where painting the shoe base might come in handy. You can also cover it with fabric. Then with the super glue, I add a little bit to the end of the tongue and glue it right side up to the inside of the toe form. If you are still not happy with the way like everything looks glued together, you can take a piece of vinyl pleather or whatever like I did and just glue that around the outside of the shoe. I found this really tucked everything in nicely and made it look like more finished, especially if you're a little bit more clumsy with shoemaking like I am. Now, I just did this one with hot glue and that worked just fine because this is not in any way holding the shoe together, so it works out. Once everything is completely dry, you can lace up through the laces and your shoes are basically done. If you follow this tutorial, please let me know how it went. I really tried to explain it as best I could. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, let me know down in the comments. But for now, if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. And if you're new here, I hope you like the content and consider subscribing. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day.